Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
You have an enormous amount of the Cleveland Browns fan base that are absolutely puked and disgusted with this whole Deshaun Watson situation. And deep down inside, it is so obvious that you guys don't truly feel about Deshaun Watson the way that you're doing damage control. The guy has played a good game and a half. It's facts. A spread offense in Cleveland on Lake Erie with 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts is not going to work. Cleveland have to have a big, strong quarterback that can cut through the air and run the football. Unless we have a dome, that's what we've got to have. And I know you guys don't like answering these questions, but it just is what it is. Man, you guys do a great job, but let's try to call a spade here.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. G. Bush, I've seen Deshaun Watson's arm. His arm's pretty good. I don't know where this narrative that he doesn't have a strong arm is from. The other thing is, it's the modern NFL. If you're not throwing the football, you're not playing to what the rules are allowing you to do. 3 of the final 4 teams, Chiefs, the Lions, and the Niners, were in the top 6 in passing yards. It's not line up and knock the guy senseless. They're trying to get away from that with the rules. So does Deshaun Watson need to play better? Absolutely.
It's just to a point where it's like, I think people believe that we are in another age. We're not. And I get it. And the thought process that, Deshaun Watson has played 11 football games for the Cleveland Browns. 11. Baker Mayfield played 60. You could go back and look at Brian Hoyer played almost 20 games. You could look at Brandon Whedon, who played in 2 years over 20-some-odd games. So I get the fact that people, because of the fact that we didn't draft him and because of some of the things that he came with in the contract, I think that we've all also sped up the timetables. Let's be clear. The reason we had to get Deshaun Watson was because we missed on a quarterback number 1 overall. And I think a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, and they want to feel like, okay, well, we got to hurry up and fix this. We got to hurry up and do it. Yes, is the clock ticking? Sure. But let's go back and just be clear. It took you 60 games to figure out Baker Mayfield wasn't the guy you want. And whether you like it or not, when you miss on a first-round quarterback and you miss, there are consequences to that. And the consequences are you did have to go find a franchise quarterback with an aging roster and pieces and parts. And what happens is you get to a point where you say, I got to spend $230 on him. I got to go pay 3 draft picks on him, because you don't have the luxury of drafting and saying, okay, well, let's hope our first-round quarterback plays well. And you see what happened in Nick Chubb. Injuries are part of the game. You see people talk about Myles Garrett. He's slowing down in the second part of the year, G. Bush. Amari Cooper wasn't able to play in that playoff game because he had injuries. That's what happens when you get older. And the Browns had to make that decision. Now, when it comes to whether or not he played well or one game, the Baltimore Ravens were a pretty good team. And he beat the Baltimore Ravens with a tore-up shoulder and a tore-up ankle. I guess the main thing that we got to take away from this is this. Deshaun Watson is going to be here. So you can either do one or two things. You can keep saying that you don't think he's worth it, or you don't think that he's going to do it, or whatever the case may be, or you could do everything in your possibility, your strength as a Cleveland Browns organization to take any excuses out of it. If we're going to throw it 70 times, we're going to play to the strengths of his ability. We're going to get you another receiver. We're going to get you another running back to mix with Nick Chubb. We're going to keep the defense solid. All of those are the things that you need to do. And by the way, if you think you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes by coming out here running the ball 35, 40 times a game, you're sadly mistaken.
Yep.
It's just he's the Michael Jordan of this thing. Stop.
And before anybody starts with the Baker Mayfield things, yes, he's going to sign a contract with the Buccaneers, and they'll pay him. But remember, he wanted $35 million a year from the Browns. That was the number that was going around. He hasn't made $35 million in all the stops that he's had since then, and he isn't going to make it even when you add the Buccaneers contract that he's going to sign. So I'm glad Baker Mayfield has revitalized his career. I've said all along I think he's an NFL quarterback, but I don't think he's an elite NFL quarterback. So I want to preemptively strike the messages I'm going to get
Right.
about Baker Mayfield.
The message is coming.
They're coming. I know they are.